Hello everyone, Rayleigh's back again here, today with a bit of a different video. So, if you watched my last video, I showed you how I got this carousel, and what happened was it fell. And I didn't lose any of the pieces, thank God, because there's no way you can get them anymore. But you can hear my animals running around. So I'm at my workbench, and what I've been doing is, since the thing's apart anyway, I decided I'd clean it up and put it back together, considering that it was falling apart to begin with. So what I've been doing is I've just been going around and I've been getting all the old glue off. And since the layout was built in the early 80s, this glue is from the 80s, so that makes it roughly about 20 years old right now. So 90s, 80s is when this thing was put together. And for those of you who know these HO Carnival kits, you know that when it comes to the paint scheme, they're not the best. But the person who put this together, as you can see, he did a very, very nice job painting these. And unfortunately, what's happened over the time is they've been nicked and chipped and everything. So what I'm doing is I'm going around, and you see here, what I've been trying to do is I've been trying to get all this old glue off, so I get a nice flat piece when I glue the new piece back on. So, including, I went online and I was able to find the instruction booklet that went with this, and I took a good look at it, and I noticed that a few bits were missing. So, this right here is the main, I don't know what you'd call this, the deck of the carousel. And the way it works is that the horses, they go in these little slots here that correspond with slots on the top here. And it's three carousel horses to a row. And if this thing were to spin, like in the instructions, you can buy an additional power pack. What that would do is, in this base here, you would see this little slot, and a little motor would sit in here with the gear. And I've read some things online, and it turns out that drive mechanism is basically garbage. And so what happened is that it would sit in here, and I'll just do it with one horse. And as the carousel would go around, the horse would move up and down accordingly. Now, unfortunately, the previous owner who put this kit together, I don't know really what he was thinking. Or if he was planning to ever make this move, because he cut the top here a little short. So what happens is that the horses, they come out really easily, because when they're in the bottom here, and when the top's on, like so, when they get to a depression on these little tracks, the top falls out, and they end up falling over and jamming the entire carousel. So what I've decided to do is I've decided to chuck this, not literally, but not use it. And what I'm planning on doing is, I found this motor online a few years ago. This is a microwave turntable motor, and these things are really nice. And I've added a temporary outlet on the other end. And if I plug it in, as you can see, it spins at a very slow speed, which is I think is a good speed for a carousel, especially one of this size. So anyway, and what I'm planning to do is, on this motor, I'm planning to put this, not this pipe exactly, but something that fits over this motor shaft. I'm planning to have it to come up through the center of a hole in the layout to the top canopy here, and as this spins, everything will hang from it and spin along with it. Since most carousels don't have steps leading up to them, this will just add to the realism, I think. Now, another thing I'm going to have to go around and do to all the horses is basically clean them up, because some of them were glued in place. So I have to go around again with a razor blade and very carefully remove the excess glue that's on these on the supports on these guys. And another thing I'm planning to do is, if you can see, there's an oval of dots. Well, I looked online, and usually designs like this, they would either have a portrait or a mirror. I'm gonna see if I could find some reflective cellophane tape or something with a sticky side and cut out little ovals and stick them in there. And there's ones on here too. So that'll add more detail. And there's one also here as well. But other than that, there's really not much to do on it, except just clean up all the glue and rebuild it. Of course, I'm gonna re-glue these pieces of tape and make sure that they don't come off. I might take the flag off here, because I'm not too, because that's not really that realistic. I might put something else on the top here, or I might just keep it. I don't know. Yeah, so what I'll probably end up doing is I'll probably end up taking a piece of brass or copper tubing and just epoxying it up there and leading that to the motor. But we'll see what happens. Anyway, that's really all I have to show for now. I'll give you an update video on this a little later once things start moving along. But other than that, make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.